Hey guys, it's Kayla back again with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys an interview that I did with Seth Hymes. You might already know him from his YouTube channel, or you might have already watched the interview that I did with him in late 2019. In this interview, we're discussing a career in digital marketing and his course, the Digital Marketing Career Blueprint. Now, a common conversation that I end up having with subscribers is them coming to the conclusion that finance might not be exactly what they want as far as a career goes. A lot of my subscribers are finance students or finance professionals. A lot of times my finance students who are subscribers are already quite far into their studies and they don't want to back out of their major at whatever point they are at, and are looking for another option as far as a career goes that has a lot of opportunity and can make six figures in their career. Seth has had thousands of students at this point who have gone on to have great careers, great results. And what I like about Seth is he's a very honest person who really cares about the success of his students. You can check out the masterclass for his Digital Marketing Career Blueprint down below, where you will get an in-depth look at what the course offers. So you can go ahead and check that out. And let's move on to the interview where we have a great discussion regarding a digital marketing career and everything that his digital marketing course offers. Hey Seth, it's so great to have you back on my channel. Can you go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do?
Hey, my name is Seth Hymes. I teach people how to get jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. I've been training people to do this since 2016. My background is I went to film school a long time ago. My passion was movies, but when I graduated college, I realized that college had not prepared me at all for the film industry or really any industry. I struggled for many years working everything from like waiting tables, delivering pizzas, and it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I discovered digital marketing. I learned digital marketing by myself online through a lot of trial and error and was trying to make money through building my own websites, affiliate marketing, Google AdSense, things like that. Didn't make that much money. But what I had done is acquired a set of skills that were in demand. I didn't realize that. So I actually applied to and got an agency job with no experience managing $1 million of ad spend, annual ad spend, and was taught on the job how to do this. And I worked in the field for 3 years and got up to six figures in my third year. And then after working in the field for that amount of time, I decided I wanted to teach other people to do what I had done essentially, because there is still such a huge demand for this skill set. And that's when I created the Digital Marketing Career Blueprint in 2016. And it's helped thousands of people get into careers in digital marketing since then.
So I previously interviewed Seth in late 2019. If you've already watched that, great. But if you haven't, go check it out. Seth, what have you been up to in the past year and during the pandemic so far?
Oh, well, actually, God, I remember you interviewed me when I was in Reno. And in December 2019, I flew to Japan and then Thailand. And my plan was to, I've always liked the, traveling life because I can work from my computer. So the plan was to travel around Southeast Asia. I really love Japan. I love it in Thailand. But then March 2020, lockdown, couldn't leave. It was a good place to be stuck. I live on an island in Thailand, and I've been here since like the beginning of 2020. So almost 2 years at this point.
Why did you create the course? What was your driving motivation behind making the digital marketing blueprint?
I'm an entrepreneur. I love to teach. I love to help people. And I do love digital marketing. And I saw an opportunity, which is the fact that, I got into this field with no experience. I was making like $16, $18 an hour my first year. And then it wasn't until one of my coworkers told me, with a year of experience, most people make 60K, 70K. People are getting up to six figures in 2 to 3 years. I had no idea. It blew my mind. And within the circle of people working digital marketing, it's almost like we're in this little elite club of people that know about this skill set. And we jokingly, I would call it the most in-demand career that nobody knows about. And we would joke about it and talk about how like nobody understands what we do. There's a huge demand and it's kind of awesome. And I was like, thinking, well, I think I could teach other people to do this. There's more than enough jobs. There's not any type of shortage. I think I could show people how to do this and do exactly what I did. And I think it'll work. And it did.
How much has the digital marketing career space changed since you started your career, or since you created the course?
I'll tell you, well, it has blown up in the last year since the pandemic, but it has been on a slow rise since 2011, which is when I started. Obviously, we all know that the internet has grown and grown and grown over the last 20 years. Most people don't really have aren't aware of the numbers and just how drastically Amazon, Facebook, Google has transformed commerce, because all traditional advertising is pretty much, I wouldn't say it's dead, but it's almost there. It's like, it used to be, newspaper advertising was like king, yellow pages, TV, radio. That was the way you got your message out. And now it's all on the internet. So in 2011, when I started, there were, it's like 10, 20,000 jobs a day on LinkedIn or something. By the time I started teaching this in 2016, there's probably 30,000 jobs a day, maybe 25 to 30,000. That kept growing from 2016 to 2019. Before the pandemic, there were about, I would say, 50 to 60,000 digital marketing job openings every day on LinkedIn. During the pandemic, that dropped, of course, like everything. Then as the pandemic has, evolved, it has blown up. Now there's about 100,000 digital marketing jobs in the US every day. There is such a massive demand for companies need people who know how to manage advertising. And all these companies that were resistant to digital before the pandemic have been forced into the online space. So it has just grown, and I think it's just going to continue to grow.
Now, can you define what digital marketing is for my audience, who a large percentage of them are either finance professionals, finance students, or people interested in going down that path?
Right. So digital marketing, like I didn't know what it was when I started out either. It's a weird culture we live in because like Super Bowl commercials, we all know, not only do we know about the commercials themselves are like an event, and we know that these companies are paying millions of dollars. So we're inundated with marketing and advertising. When you surf the web, you see ads all over the place. I'm sure you're aware of them. They probably annoy you, but they are very effective. And basically, like I said before, advertising and marketing is like the heartbeat of capitalism. There's the finance sector and there's marketing and advertising. Products need to be promoted. I talk to people, like I come from the film background. I say, even when Brad Pitt makes a movie, just because he's a movie star, he still goes on a 50-day tour promoting this thing. So the traditional marketing avenues, like I said, was like newspapers, television, the yellow pages, which some of you guys who are younger may not even know what that is, local businesses in the old days, and maybe they still do this, but I think it's pretty much dead. Literally, this giant book of all the local businesses would get dropped on your front porch once a year. And that was your only chance to advertise if you're a local business, and you paid for either a little section or a big full page thing. That was your advertising. That was $1 billion industry, and it's pretty much gone because now it's all Google Maps, Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Twitter ads, Instagram ads. Everything has gone digital in the past 20 years. So when you're scrolling through your Instagram feed and you see that sponsored post, or you're going through your stories and you see that sponsored post, when you do a Google search and you see all those ads, like most people don't even notice the ads because we just look for what they call the organic results. But if you want to know how Google makes, what is it? I don't even remember now. It's $100 billion. However many millions of dollars they make every single day, it's just from people clicking on those ads. So you may not click on them, but millions of people do. And that's why companies need people who are doing the advertising, need people who know how to run those ads. So I hope that makes sense. Does that make some sense?
Absolutely. In your opinion, what kind of person thrives in a digital marketing career?
That's a great question. So look, my background is in filmmaking. I have a lot of students who were former engineers. I have people who just came right out of high school and didn't want to go to college at all. I have had people with financial backgrounds. What I find is it's a mixture of being analytical and creative. So it's like you've got two extremes. So coding is like super analytical, and it's something I can't do. I took Pascal in high school. That's how old I am. And I kind of thought it was cool, but I was like, I couldn't do this every day. I can't have my head in just numbers and analyzing stuff every single day. That's just too left brain. And on the right side, you might have an extreme of someone that's just like doing, I don't know, I don't know what a full right brain job is, but something creative, maybe something with writing. It's a really great combination because like Google ads, right? You have to both analyze data about what terms, like let's say what search terms people are looking for. If you're selling something like digital cameras or yoga lessons or something, you have to get real technical about the search terms, and then you have to analyze the data of who's clicking what. But you also have to come up with ad copy. You have to speak to the human beings that are searching, which is another reason why people talk about AI all the time. The AI in digital is not that great because at the end of the day, you're speaking to other people. And people are sharp. They can sense BS, so you have to become clever. And then the audience becomes more sophisticated. Like you're always scrolling through your Instagram feed and you're probably like, oh, screw this ad, I don't want to look at it. So you have to come up with ways to catch people's attention. And that's psychology and that's creativity. So, and the other thing is it's problem solving. Because once you understand sort of these mechanisms, whether you're running paid ads or you're doing something called SEO, which is basically trying to adjust your website so that Google will show it higher. Like when someone types in like dentist, Rockland County, whatever, you want your client's website to show up higher. So it's like a competition between all the different websites. And there's a lot of things you have to do on the website and off the website. So there's a lot of strategy and problem solving. That's one of the most fun things about it with my students is like, literally, when I got into this initially, I didn't even have to really sell my services because it just come up naturally. People would say, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I do digital marketing. I help people with their websites get more traffic. Oh, I have a website. I'm like, oh, cool. Let me check it out. And I just want to look at their website and be like, oh, dude, you're doing this wrong, or try to figure out, oh, why isn't this working? So it's a lot of problem solving too. And that's one of the things that really is rewarding to me is that my students, they're thrilled because they're finding a career path that pays well, but they like the work. That's the key. Like they're like waking up in the morning, like interested in what they're doing.
They find passion in it.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
So what would you say the pros and cons are of a digital marketing career?
Well, I got to go with the pros because obviously this has been getting this skill set was so positive for me, and I will throw some cons in there because it's not. I don't think there's any job where it's all sunshine and rainbows all the time. I guess I'll start with that. You are going to be on the computer. If you don't like computers, it's not for you. You're going to be looking at the computer a lot. It's a very intellectual job. It's not for someone that wants to be outdoors or something like that. But the pros are, first of all, it is one of the most highly in demand skill sets out there. The mainstream still does not know about it. I go on LinkedIn all the time. I look at the news and they're like, FedEx is hiring. Amazon is. You're like, wait, do you want to work in an Amazon warehouse like a slave? Go for it. Do you want to work at Walmart? They don't say, hey, there's 100,000 open digital marketing jobs. The average person, that's why there's a low barrier for entry. That's why my students are able to get these jobs where it says like 3 years experience required. And then I show my students how to basically be compelling and show them, hey, I don't have 3 years experience, but I know this, this, and this, and they get hired. And like I said, it's a great balance where it's a tech field, but it's not like coding. You could be coming from finance. You could be coming from being an English major or some, non-technical major and still do it. Said I was a film major. I'm not a tech guy, but I learned how to build websites and how to do this type of a thing. The options that are available are what excites me because my students, I just teach them the basics. Once they get into it, it's like some of them are freelancing. Some of them have a job and then they get their own clients. So they're able to level their salary up like that. Some people just want to travel. So they get a remote job and then they get to travel around. One of my students, he's been in it for 3 years. We've been playing phone tag, but like he makes $125,000 a year. This is with 3 or 4 years of experience. And he just had a baby, or his wife had a baby. He had 3 months paternity leave at his company. And I was like, dude, in the US, that is so rare. But there's usually a very good work-life balance. There are agencies, definitely just like in any field, there's some agencies that like overwork people. And I'm like, I teach my students to look out for that. Or to work there very quickly to get some experience and then move on. For the most part, there's a very good work-life balance. And the reason that is, guys, I'm not just like tooting it and saying, oh, you guys should get into this. It's because when you have a field where there is a lack of skilled workers like this field. It's like being in the NBA or in, any professional sport. You're like a free agent. The good companies want to keep you happy. They know that once your LinkedIn updates and you're like, hey, I'm managing $5 million in ad spend, blah, 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 the recruiters are going to come after you. So you're going to leave unless you're happy. So they're doing the paid time off. They're doing the ping pong tables and the catered lunches and these types of, when you're working in the office, or they're doing the remote work. In fact, one of my students, I was so happy because she was saying her manager is like, the biggest problem right now is people aren't taking time off. And so they're like, you've got to take time off from your work. I was like, that is a great work environment. So yeah, I think just, again, having a skill set that's in demand, whatever you guys do, whether it's coding or anything, find out what's in demand. And then you become, I say, like the prettiest girl at the dance. Mm-hmm. Like people will come to you. You don't have to be like, please give me a chance.
Yeah, that's basically how it is for the majority of people who want to enter finance. It's extremely cutthroat, and it's very hard to get a high finance job, especially students who go to non-Ivy League schools. And I know you have students who have not graduated college, who've done your course and get a job in digital marketing. Whereas people who want to enter finance, if you do not have a 4-year degree, you are not getting a finance job, period. If you do not have a 4-year degree and you want to pursue finance, you're not breaking in. If you want to pursue digital marketing, you don't need a 4-year degree. You need to have the skills necessary to do the job.
Absolutely. In fact, I just interviewed, this actually was funny. It happened on the same day. 2 19-year-olds who took my course both got $52,000 a year remote jobs on the same day. So they're 19. They obviously do not have a college degree. And that is very, very exciting to me.
I think another pro of a digital marketing career is that working remotely for digital marketing jobs is not going anywhere in the foreseeable future. Whereas if you want a career in finance, the higher ups definitely want you guys back in the office. They do not want you guys working remotely indefinitely.
Yeah. I mean, remote work is the future of digital marketing. There's some agencies where they want you to come back to the office, but remote work in digital marketing is here to stay. In fact, now, before I actually had to tell people before the pandemic, because people would always say, hey, can I work from home? And it was kind of a pet peeve of mine, because I was like, these are jobs. I'm a job trainer. This isn't like work from your basement. I had to set people straight before the pandemic, because I didn't want their expectations. I'm very big on realistic expectations. I do have some students before the pandemic who did have remote jobs, and that was like a exciting kind of, unique thing. Now it's completely different. Most of the students are remote. The teams are remote. And also the companies I'm happy it happened, because when I worked at my agency, I mean, it depends on the culture. Like I had one job where I loved the people so much, and we had ping pong and everything, that I wanted to come into the office. And I had another agency job where we were just kind of, you get on the computer in the morning and maybe you'd have lunch. And I was like, why can't we do this at home? This is like silly. Why? And you're renting like real estate in LA, in the Valley. This is expensive. What's the point? I think most of these digital companies they're remote, and they're going to stay remote. The work, there's a culture in place for it. There's Slack channels. People are on Zoom meetings all day. So you're like in a virtual office environment. And so, even when this thing goes away eventually, I think most of these jobs are going to stay remote.
Mm-hmm. And for the people watching, I don't want it to sound like I'm bashing finance. I just want you guys to know the reality of the industry, and for you guys to know that there are options for you guys. You need to be in tune to what is important to you, what's going to make your life happy. You only have one life. So I'm presenting an option for you guys here that I think is great. And it's an industry that is not going anywhere. We're only going more digital as years go on. So
I would, just to speak to that, I would say that, I can appreciate the competitive nature of finance. And, but I think it is like anything. It's like, it sounds really brutal from what you're saying. Like, it's really competitive. And I don't think most people probably aren't prepared for that. You have to have really thick skin. And I will just say this about digital marketing. It's just not like that. It's like I said, because there's a low supply of skilled workers. I mean, it's competitive to a point. Like, you've got to perform. Like, you know, I've got these students, they get jobs and they're 19 or 20. You have to show up and do the work. But I mean, like, you're like trained on the job. It's like a supportive environment. Like, all these students, almost the same story, because they know, like, they want someone with 5 years experience. You can't get that. Like, there's just not enough people. So they take someone who knows the basics and has shown a lot of initiative. And like Morgan, the student I just interviewed, or Christopher or Kayshawn, like, they're getting mentorship with the team of senior people. And it's a very supportive, it's not like hazing or anything. It's like, you have questions, ask us. They love it when you ask questions. It's like really nurturing environment. You know, you don't have to feel like you know, there's the focus is on delivering the best product and performance for the client. And that's why they just want to make sure you're nurtured to the point where you are going to be able to help them make money. That's it.
So in the finance industry, the most lucrative jobs are pretty much reserved for people who go to Ivy League schools. They have a 3.9 or 4.0 GPA. Digital marketing isn't so much like that. It isn't as elitist, I'll say.
No. And like, I mean, Ash, one of my students, I had a couple of students who Ash didn't even graduate high school. And these are, by the way, if you go to my YouTube channel or my Instagram page, you'll see these people, and you can also find them on LinkedIn. That's the exciting thing. You can find them on LinkedIn or Instagram. They will write back to you. These are real people. I had a student named Lyndon who was working at Staples when he took the course, you know, and people always start out very small, very humble. They like get a few clients here, a few clients there. They build their way up. He got offered a job at Agora Financial. Do you know that? It's like,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Agora Financial is a big newsletter, right? Finance newsletter. And they just took him and a couple other people who were, you know, young and you know, they were hungry, and they brought him into their marketing program. And so he's promoting these $1 million, you know, campaigns for these, you know, financial advice is a big industry. And he's working on these $1 million campaigns, leveraged him. Now he's making 6 figures within, I don't know if it was 3 years of when he started. And he's a kid who was working at Staples who, you know, just had never come out of high school. All they care about is, can you help us make money? Which I think is, I guess in the finance industry, I mean, I guess that is, I think it's a good fit, because like those competitive colleges like Harvard and Yale, you're being cultivated to be competitive. And so if they want someone who's that sharp and that hungry in these firms, then that makes sense. But it's just not the same way in digital marketing. It's like, if you show up and you show that you have the experience and you can help people make money, they really don't care where you went to school. I've never, ever heard of that. Or if you went to school at all.
And I love that because, you know, so many people, especially people who are not from privileged backgrounds, that want to pursue finance, and they don't have full ride scholarships, or they don't end up making it into a top 10 school. And they get themselves into tens of thousands, if not over 6 figures of student debt. I don't like seeing that happen to anybody. You have an option to go into a career where you don't have to go through that. You don't have to go through that torture.
Right. I think it's, you know, I was thinking like everything is so competitive in school. And I was thinking like whatever field you pick, whether it's, you know, if you're an athlete, like I just interviewed a student of mine who was an athlete. He's defensive lineman. I forget. He was a football player. He got an offer for a scholarship to college, you know, because he was very good in high school. But he actually refused the scholarship, where he went to school for like a year or 6 months and was like, this isn't for me. It's like, it's just so competitive, you know, and with him, it was physical. He's bashing his body every day that he's in a game. He's training after class. It's so draining on his physical body. And, you know, whether you're an athlete or you're in an academic environment, you're doing the same thing to your head in these colleges. And yeah, there are other options. And, you know, there's options, you know, whether you decide to do digital marketing or not, things like coding, things like UX design, even things like cybersecurity, or even the trades. I know this is kind of off topic, but like, did you know that I was reading there's like 7 million open trade jobs in the US? I'm talking about skilled trades, like working with your hand type things. I don't know if it's like carpentry or like physical jobs that, but not physical, like, you know, hauling like bricks. I'm talking about skilled labor. And Mike Rowe actually has he's a big advocate for that because he has this whole program of like apprenticeships and getting people into the trades. Now, I don't know if anyone watching this, if you're interested in finance, that probably may not appeal to you, but I knew a guy who was an elevator repairman who had come from a field like finance. It was some highly intellectual, highly analytical field. And he felt so good working with his hands that I was really happy for him. So the point of all this is that there are options, whatever you choose. Like you don't have this like, I have to make it in finance or I'm going to die type of mentality. There are other ways to do it. And you can make a lot of money in digital marketing. The cool thing is like you're always going to be capped on your salary to an extent. Like my students get up to 6 figures, which by the way, I have students in their early 20s making 6 figures doing digital marketing, which again is an enjoyable, supportive environment. They're not working 100-hour weeks. And then they will also often get their own clients on the side. And once you have your own clients, you have a little bit of an ability to, sell your services. I mean, that's when you really don't have any limit, because you can bring in people paying you on the low end $500 a month, on the higher end $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month, and get as many clients as you can handle. And then I have other students like David. He lives in Armenia right now, but he's from LA. He's running his own agency, and he, now he's outsourcing and hiring people, and he's making 3 times what he used to make when he was an employee by running his own agency. And that to me is like, that's where you can take it. I mean, he's in the field now 3 or 4 years. And I do tell people that because there's a lot of hype out there around this field too. People say, oh, you're going to make, 30 grand in 30 days or something like that. Like, dude, that's all bullshit. It's not true. I mean, I'm basing this off thousands of case studies. You can make a lot of money. You have to put in the work, get the skills, deliver the value, and be patient. And you can build up to that. And then you can have this like lifelong skill set. That's a solid, real thing, not some hyped up thing. But you can do very, very well in this field. I don't know if you can be making like 8 figures. I don't know what people make in investment banking, but like you can do very well.
With learning digital marketing skills, you definitely have the ability to do things like YouTube. If you want to market your own product on Amazon, you now have these skills to, basically the world is your oyster at that point. I get a lot of people who reach out to me and they ask me, okay, I'm going to graduate with a 4-year degree in finance. Am I going to be able to start my own business now that I have a degree in finance? And the reality is not really. No, you don't really learn a ton of real world skills, real world applications when you go to a 4-year school for finance. You're basically getting cultivated and ready to go work in finance, go work for a company. You're not ready to start a business just because you went to school for finance.
And this is the thing about academia in general, which is why I think, like you said, there's few instances, like if you want to go to Harvard Law School, then you better go to a great undergrad school. Like if you want to stay in these little niches, if you want to get into a great medical school, you should go to great undergrad school, all that type of thing. And if you want a specific finance job and you want to compete with all these other people for this specific position at the specific finance firm that only hires from Harvard, then do that. But the actual curriculum in business school is terrible for learning to actually start a business. In fact, you can go to the New York Fed right now, Google New York Fed, and they have what they call statistics about underemployment. Underemployment is data-based information that basically is when someone is working at a job that did not require a degree. And if you look, first of all, nearly every single major is over 50%. Every major from the humanities to business is over 50%, meaning 1 out of every 2 college graduates work in a job that didn't require a degree. But the business one is surprising. It's really high. It's like it's one of the higher. It's like over 50. Maybe it's 60%. And it's because what you're learning in business school and finance is so removed from the reality of running a business. You're not actually learning how to come up with a product and market it. You're learning like macroeconomics and managerial accounting, just like random stuff, statistics, but not even like practical statistics. Like the idea that you need a degree to start a business is insane. And really any business, Like I run a business, which is my course. My product is my course, and it's all about marketing. That's the funny thing at the end of the day. Marketing is everything. You can open an Amazon business right now, an Amazon FBA business. You can sell something on eBay. You can sell something on Etsy right now. But you're not going to sell anything without marketing. And there's people making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars like on Etsy right now. And these people didn't go to business school. There's a person that came up with like, there's a lot of niche products, somebody who knew like the knitting field and they came up with some kind of a tool to help people knit or something like that. There's people on Kickstarter who came up with like, what is it? I just saw it in my newsfeed for like the glasses somebody built, it's like glasses you can wear that are going to give you like an HD. Basically you can wear the glasses like a TV screen. And it's like, it made $500,000 in like 12 hours or something like that because people want this thing. The tech field is huge on Kickstarter. But these people don't go to, business school. They just know how to build something or how to make something or how to market something. And I think when I was growing up and I was in high school, I didn't know anything about business, but it seemed like it's like when you're a child, like when you're 5 years old and your parents are talking about taxes or the mortgages, it just feels like this weird alien, oh my God, what is this? It must be so complicated and sophisticated. And then you're led to believe that in school, somehow that degree will translate into a business. And then you get this like, oh, it's such a harsh reality. It's like the worst hangover. So I tell most people, I think college graduation celebrations are terrible because it's like, you have the worst hangover the next day, not just from drinking, but you just realize like, what the hell am I going to do? And what did I just learn? Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's
it's a really harsh reality, honestly. Yeah. Another question I get from people who watch my videos is, okay, I'm getting this 4-year degree in finance. Am I going to know how to invest after I graduate? Like, will I know how to invest in the stock market, crypto, anything like that? No, the content you're learning in these classes in school is 5-10 years in the past, and your professors don't care about teaching you how to set up a trading account. They don't teach you what stocks, you should be investing in. That's a conversation for a whole different day. But, college isn't there to set you up for life. It's you have to make your own destiny. And if you do end up going to college, you need to use the alumni there, the network you have there, and the name value of the college that you go to. That's basically it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I went to NYU, right? And you know what? I say I went to NYU Film School. And you know who that impresses? That impresses my parents' friends and random people. Oh, you went to NYU Film School. Well, that must be exciting. Didn't Martin Scorsese go there 40 years ago before there was such thing as video cameras? I always say, like, if Scorsese grew up in this time, and he would never have gone to film school, he'd just be shooting stuff. But the name doesn't mean anything. I got to the film industry in LA and people were like, I put my college degree at the top of my resume, actually, because I was like, well, I went to this great school. And when people rolled they looked at me like I was an idiot. You're putting your school at the top. So you have to know which fields it matters. Like, yes, if you go to Harvard and you apply to these particular fields, then it may make difference. Now, if you go to Harvard and you apply for an entry-level digital marketing job, you don't know anything about PPC, SEO, or any of these terms, they're not going to hire you. They're not going to be like, well, this guy went to Harvard. Well, we better hire him to manage this, $10,000 a month ads account. No, they're going to take the high school grad who has been like, hey, I've managed, some smaller accounts and I'd like to transition into this. I don't care about your Harvard degree or your Yale degree or any of that stuff. But you have to know where you want to go, which they don't talk about that in high school. It's unfortunate. People are flying blind into these majors and you don't really get, it's like you finish school and that's when people are like, oh yeah, oh, by the way, yeah, like you said, people asking, now can I start a business? Now can I get a job? Dude, you should have been asking that before you signed up. It's so crazy. Sorry, I don't mean to rant. I just like, it's so strange.
No, I have the same beliefs. But to get back on topic with your course, what would you say makes your course different from other options on the market to learn digital marketing?
I would say, first of all, the goal of my course is to get a job or clients. And I have more authentic, verifiable success stories than anybody. You can look, I don't know who else is teaching, whether it's like a boot camp certification program from UC Berkeley or a similar online course, or even like Udacity, who has a program. They have all these testimonials, by the way, on Udacity, and they're just like little text with like a photo with a first name. You can't reach these people. You can find my students. They will talk to you. I've had students tell me, I didn't even know this, but my alumni are so touched and moved by how it changed their life that they will talk to people at length about, should I take the course? And, they're just very honest and very available. But the real difference is, like, I teach this based on how to get a job. The whole strategy, the second half of the course is like, how do you get the job? Even Udacity, by the way, and out of all the options, by the way, Full Sail is terrible. These, for-profit schools, $60,000. You don't even make a website till your second year. It's absurd waste of money. Udacity is like, I've known some people that think, oh, at least you're learning how to run some ads. It's not that bad. Although they actually still, what they do is they have you promote their stuff. That's what I think is really funny. Like, I'm telling my students, get your hands on some real businesses. They're like, just promote Udacity. But I had people come to me with Udacity and they've said, I just did this program and now I need to know how to get a job. And I'm like, why didn't they teach you how to get the job? And they're like, well, that wasn't part of the course. And I'm like, well, what do you have for me? And one kid, he submitted to me this 160-page PDF file that was unintelligible. It's like all this information. I was like, dude, you're going to submit this with your resume? No one's going to read a 160-page PDF file. So what I'm providing on top of the actual skill set is career resume training, which in and of itself, this is the funny thing I've realized, because I have friends in this field now, you can pay $1,000 to have someone look at your resume and redo it. There are career coaches that will charge you that for like a one-time consulting fee. And my course is less than that for ongoing support. So you get all the skill sets, the paid ads, the SEO, and all these things. Then you learn how to basically how to communicate the limited experience that you're generating into a compelling resume that gets you interviews. And my students have been getting interviews and jobs for 5 years. On top of that, now this year we've added in, there's coaching calls with my alumni, which is awesome. My alumni, these are people who are working in the industry. Like Nick Battle is a great guy. He's worked with like Netflix and $1 million accounts. I had Andrea, who works at Thomson Reuters, doing the SEO stuff. These are guys, high-level people that you are getting calls with every week. You actually talk to them and ask them questions, getting feedback on your assignments from these guys. There's actual assignments. The assignments aren't like in school where it's like, literally some of these marketing and business programs, they're like, if you were the CEO of Apple, what would your next product be? And I was like, dude, try to apply to an entry-level job with that case study. Like, I think that the new iPhone should have this feature. They're going to laugh at you. I teach people how to put together actual projects that will actually make a hiring manager go, oh my God, this person knows how to do this job. And on top of that, there is a community and a network of alumni that is so great. There's a Facebook group, and the alumni will come back to the group and be like, hey guys, my company's hiring. And if you are going to apply, talk to me, I'll help you get the job. And I've had people get jobs that way. Sometimes the alumni just want to answer questions because it's like, what is it? Not circle of life, but what's the word? Give and take, pay it forward, whatever you want to call it.
I was trying to think of the word. I can't think of it either right now.
Right. Like pay it forward, that kind of a thing. And yeah, the community is extremely supportive. One of the things I'm most proud of is like when Morgan, the 19-year-old, who I didn't know she was 19. I saw her in the coaching calls. I figured she was like in her mid-20s. She had dropped out of college against her parents' wishes. And I got a lot of people like that. They're dealing with their family ostracizing them because they won't go to college and they know it's not for them. So what I always wanted to create was a community that could replace the college community, because college is still very appealing because you get to be around other young people. Well, now you have this community of other like-minded people. And Morgan said like that community really helped support her when she was doing the course and like, staying positive in the job hunt and everything. And that just really moved me to hear that. And just to be clear, guys, I'm also extremely realistic about the expectations for this course, because I've seen I have some competitors who are like, you're going to make 10 grand in 30 days and all this stuff. Like, dude, that is hype. It is not true. You need to invest time in this. It's usually like, I'd say 2 to 3 months to get through the training and to begin applying. Once you're applying, within a month is usually when people start getting responses and interviews. So it can be like a 2 to 6 month process, which is very, very fast. But you need to put in months of time to learn and apply these things. It's not overnight. It's not 30 days. It's months, which again, compared to any other career field is very, very quick. But I want you to come, I don't want people coming in like, I need to make fast money. So I think that is also what differentiates.
And I appreciate you saying that, because for the people who do market that get rich quick scheme kind of courses, it's very toxic, and people need to be patient with themselves as they're learning new skills. Not that anything is impossible in life, but you need to take each day as it comes, as you're learning these skills. And once you learn those skills, go apply them and see what's possible for yourself.
Yeah, and you do the thing. I also teach people about there's a big mindset component to the course, and it's really helpful because I also, applying for a job is kind of like dating. It's like you have to be calm and neutral. You can't be desperate. And so, because there's a cultural fit aspect, you could have all the skills and all the qualifications, and this will happen in finance too. You have to fit culturally with the company. And a big aspect is, the secret in my course is that, and what worked for me is I just got so into digital marketing that I would just nerd out with people and my employers. And that genuine passion is what gets people hired, versus when people get stuck in their head. But you have to do, like when Morgan was, a lot of my students, when they're going, they're getting interviews, which is very exciting, but they're not getting the first job that they get the interview with. You have to learn, they get better, you grow, and you have to be patient with it. And that's very important part of it.
Have you had anybody go through your course who has a 4-year degree in marketing? And have any of those people said that any of their marketing courses have taught them about SEO, PPC, how to run ad campaigns, anything like that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of marketing majors. In fact, the most prominent one is David, and I actually mentioned this in his interview. If you go to my YouTube channel and see the guy who's making 3 times his salary at his own agency, he got an agency job, and he actually told me, yeah, he was a marketing major, or I think he was a business major with a focus on marketing. But yeah, it was all outdated stuff. They spent like, a week on SEO, but it's never up to date. It's never practical. It's all theoretical. It's an idea of what SEO is. And he was actually like handing out flyers or doing like some type of print marketing when he found my course. And I hear it again and again. I think I have some testimonials on there where people were marketing majors, and they're always like, I learned so much more in your course in like a week than I've learned in a month in marketing. That's the other thing. If you look at these marketing curriculums, guys, and you can do your own research, go to the university. I was just looking at like University of California, San Diego, or, I can't remember. It's like any major university. Their marketing programs are macroeconomics, managerial accounting, statistics, all this esoteric nonsense. And then they literally will all have digital marketing as an elective. I am not kidding. It is hilarious. They literally have it there with like elective. And I'm like, an elective is like Swedish massage or like, I don't know, ballroom dancing. And I actually had another student in Washington who he's actually an engineering major who took my course and started getting clients doing Facebook ads on the side. And he said he was at a party and met a marketing major. And she said, he was saying, oh, I do Facebook ads. I have some clients. And she said, literally, oh, my professor said that Facebook ads are just a fad. And I'm like, okay, but that makes sense. Most of these marketing professors are tenured, meaning they're old and they're not in touch. I'm sorry, guys, it's the truth. Like I literally go on NYU's, my alma mater's website and go to the marketing department, and the main photo is this dude who's got to be in his late 70s lecturing. And I'm like, this isn't ageism. This is just practical. If you haven't been in the industry day to day, you're going to be teaching outdated things. And if you look at the curriculum, I'm like, dude, you're learning about, I had another buddy, I could go on, but this is forever. My buddy, Matt, was actually looking to get an MBA, and he was looking into the curriculum, and he got into some detail, and they were using as a case study, Eastman Kodak. Now I'm from Rochester, New York. My buddy's from Rochester, New York. Eastman Kodak is a defunct company that was at one time one of America's biggest companies, but they didn't keep current. They completely blew it with digital. They actually had digital camera. They were like the first company to create the digital camera. And they were just like, oh, nobody will ever stop using film. And the whole company imploded. And my friend is like, what are we going to study about Eastman Kodak that is in any way relevant to business today? And he was like, I can't study here. But I'm like, you will get that kind of outdated stuff in these marketing and business programs. So
it's really sad that the theoretical nature applies to basically every single major in college, including finance. It's all theory. You're not practicing it. So
I would say, and you can cut me if you want, because I could go on for this for hours.
yeah.
In my book, Skip College for Success, I talk about this. The modern lecture was invented in like the year 1000 AD. Okay, so we are using the same technology to teach that is 1,000 years old. But I'm saying it's like 1,000-year-old way of teaching. And academia itself is so toxic. The idea of tenure, the idea is, in theory, like everything in academia, is that if you grant a professor this thing called tenure, if you don't know what tenure is, tenure means when you're granted tenure, you cannot be fired. You have a job for life. And the idea was to protect the academic integrity of these professors. The idea was if they don't have to worry about, publishing papers, or I don't know, if they don't have to worry about performing, then they can just focus on teaching without being influenced by the money. Well, this is a disaster because you said these marketing professors who they haven't worked in the industry for years and they don't have to prove anything. They could literally tap dance on the table and they're going to get their paycheck, and they're teaching you guys. So
it's exactly like that in finance too. And I have people come into the comments and try and like stand up for finance professors. Like, why are you doing this? They're on tenure. 9 out of 10 of the professors that I personally had were absolutely horrible. They just taught out of the book. None of them were, in my definition, successful. None of them were millionaires. None of them were running their own businesses. They were just employees of the university that they worked for.
That's really a good point, because I learned when I started to become successful, I wasn't successful until my early 30s. And the thing that really made a difference is listen to people who have what you want. So I stopped listening to anyone who's academic. I didn't listen to anyone. I was like when I wanted advice on movie making, I would listen to Tarantino, or what he said in interviews. Cause I was like, I don't want to listen to a film professor. I don't listen to the guy that's actually doing this thing. If I'm going to listen to an entrepreneur, I'm not going to listen to a professor or someone who if someone who wrote a book about entrepreneurship, if the author themselves is not an entrepreneur. And that's why I also think that my course makes sense. I was like, I did everything that I teach. And if I was going to learn about stocks, I'm going to learn from someone that's actually trading every day, not a guy who's getting paid by the university to teach about finance.
So what would you say to people who are skeptical about online courses and about people who, call themselves gurus?
Yeah, I totally get that. And I am actually also skeptical of most online courses, and I see people on YouTube or on Instagram promoting a course. I'm usually very skeptical, but depending on how they promote it. So obviously, I'm someone who has a course and I'm in this market and I know the stigma of it. One of the things that as I said before, what I try to do is I'm very realistic about the expectations that you should have when you get into my course. With the testimonials, I like to make them in depth. That's why my interviews are 30 minutes long. So you can get to know the people. You can contact them on LinkedIn. The biggest problem I don't like gurus at all. I hate that crap. It's like, you don't want to go with someone who you think is above you. You need to really, I feel like, learn from someone who's giving you concrete information, not a Lamborghini or any of this other BS. If you look at my interviews, my students, like I have Athena, one of my students who's making 6 figures, like she bought a Tesla 3 years into the field, which was really exciting. But like, I don't advertise with like bling and excitement and hype. Most of these courses, I'll just give you some tips on what to look out for as a warning sign with an online course. Number one is unrealistic expectations, which is what I just spoke to. Like, if something sounds too good to be true, the problem is it's going to trigger a part of you that's going to be excited. It's like, hey, do you want to learn how to make $10,000 in 3 days? Part of your brain's going to be like, well, that's BS. But this other part's going to be like, oh my God, that would be so amazing. I don't really believe, but I'm really curious. And then that curiosity leads to more psychological techniques to like lure you into this whole script which is what some of my competitors do. Make a really hyped up claim. It's so outrageous. And then you're sucked into this whole psychological. Some of these course creators are really good at using psychological manipulation, storytelling, emotions, things like that. And I don't do any of that. I'm just like very passionate about what's possible. I have a lot of proof and a lot of results. But if you're in a sales video or funnel where someone's giving you something that sounds too good to be true, the main thing I would say is this: do your research. Because one of the other tricks that gurus will use is false scarcity. And I cannot freaking stand this. This is where so true scarcity is like Amazon's Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales, literally 24 hours. There's some crazy deal on this TV. After it's done. That's a real sale. False scarcity is when an online course creator will create a fake timer with a price around it. Now, just to be honest with you, I have an automated webinar that I use to sell my course, and I don't think that's a problem because you can sign up for the most recent replay of it or tomorrow morning if you want. It's free. There's no pricing. What I don't like is with a course, they might say, oh, this course is normally $10,000, but if you act within the next 24 hours, it's only $500. Then psychologically you are triggered. It's very effective. And a part of you, it's FOMO. You don't want to miss it. You're like, oh shit, I got to get this deal. And then you just end up buying this thing on a compulsion and you didn't do your research. And in many ways, this technique is used to stop people from doing a lot of in-depth research, because that's how you get people to buy stuff. And all I will say is whether people, I don't do that. Some people do it. I'm not even going to, give my opinion on it or not. I would just say this: you should do your research before you purchase anything over $500, or I think anything in general. Like, when I'm paying $10 for something on Udemy, I look at the reviews. I do compare courses, but I don't spend weeks and weeks agonizing about it. But if you're going to invest in a training program, you need to have realistic expectations. And that's why, again, I say not just about the earnings, but the time involved. People come to me like, hey, I need, I'm down to my last, $500 or, $900. Should I invest in your product? I go, no, don't come into the course without having a cushion. You need to be relaxed. You need to be stable so that you can focus and learn and practice and have trial and error. You're going to have successes. You're going to have failures. This is a process of learning and growing, not some hyped up BS loophole. So if you come in and you spend all your rent money on the course, I've seen some other courses like, oh yeah, am I going to make back my X, thousands of dollars in 2 weeks? It's like, no, don't ever come in. Then you're going to be desperate on your job interview too. You can get a job interview. You're going to be desperate, thinking, oh my God, I need this job. Now, I've had some students do that. Actually, they told me later, they're like, oh yeah, I spent my last dollar on your course and I was so focused for that month that I got a job. It's like, that's great for you. But for most people, I say, don't come in like you're investing in anything that's an investment, doing your diligence and expecting it to take some time to lead to fruition. And, check the results. Get on LinkedIn. I tell people, go on LinkedIn, look at these jobs, talk to my students, talk to someone in your network that knows about digital marketing, and be prepared. That's why I think this course has such a good reputation. My refund rate is very, very low. People are coming in prepared mentally to do the work. They're not coming in hyped up. They're not coming in with misconceptions about what's going to happen. So whether you're learning about digital marketing or things like drop shipping, I know there's a lot of courses on that, and refund policy. I'll say that every online course should have a very transparent refund policy. It's part of the cost of doing business on the internet. I understand that. Mine is 30-day. I call it some question to ask guarantee, which is to say, I don't let people just come through the course, absorb, get all the information, get coaching, get all the support, get all this value, and then be like, oh, it's been 29 days. Give me my money back. We need to have a conversation. But 90% of the time, people, if they want a refund, it's because I started the course and I realized digital marketing isn't for me. And then the rest of the time it's like, oh, I had an emergency or, something happened where I can't do it now. It's like, fine. I don't argue with people about it. Watch out for any other course where they may have you sign a document. They may, you may give up your consumer rights by signing a document of some kind, giving your power to the vendor. Then you have no recourse if you need a refund. I mean, the point of refund policy with my course is if you get into my course and you look at these, all these videos and all this, everything. If you got in there and you're like, oh my God, there's no material here. That's the point of the refund, is to protect you, to make you understand, hey, I'm not going to take your money and give you like one PDF that has no information. You're getting real information, and then you have to take action on it. But like I said, some people find, hey, it's not the right fit for me, and I don't fight with them about it. I would say, if you're going to sign a document for like a course with like to alter the refund policy, or say, hey, I'm going to do X, X, and X, and that if I don't do that, I don't get the refund or something, talk to a lawyer. So I would say, if someone's going to have you sign a document, because I know of some other course creators out there doing things like that, talk to a lawyer before you sign anything. And don't be pressured. Like, you have to sign this document within 24 hours or you miss out on the pricing. There should be no pressure involved in an online course. There should be no hype involved in an online course. This is not like buying a pair of shoes. This is what I'd say. It's not like buying, I got to get these shoes before the sale ends. Like, dude, this is your life. This is your skill set. This is your career. This is serious stuff. So come in ready to rock, and come in having done your research. I hope that's helpful.
It definitely is. And I really appreciate all the things that you just said, because there are definitely course creators out there that definitely have high pressure sales tactics, especially extremely high ticket price ones where, they might use closers to call you on the phone and get that decision out of you. People who overpromise, underdeliver, those sorts of things.
Can't stand that stuff. In fact, it's funny because the other thing I'll tell you guys, if you're in finance, maybe you're in a better financial position. I don't know what it's like, but when I was younger and more broke, I remember I signed up for this $10,000 course, and I didn't have $10,000. I put it on like 3 credit cards, and I remember or I don't know if it was 3 or 2 credit cards. I put the deposit down. And they were like, you have to pay the balance within like 2 days or something. And I remember it was actually a buddy of mine at the time kind of like slapped me upside the head, not literally, but figuratively. It was like, what are you doing? I already knew what I needed to do in my case. It was one of those situations where the promise of the course was so good that I had invested this incredible amount of money for the idea that it was somehow gonna fix something for me. In fact, the funny thing is, in that case, I was already selling something that was working. So, but I was in like a desperate, I don't know how to say it, not desperate, but the problem with a lot of these high ticket courses, and especially make money, is the people who are going to be the most triggered and the most responsive are usually the people that can't afford the thing. The person who has the means to do this is going to probably be more level-headed when they're making the decision.
So there are some course creators who have upsells in their course. Do you have an upsell in your course?
Great question. No. In fact, I have been criticized and sort of pointed out by other colleagues of mine, you should have upsells. I'm giving people everything I'm promising in all these videos in the course. One thing I'm working on with one of my coaches. So the promise of this course is to get you an entry-level job, your first clients, paid clients. And from there, you're then in a position where, most of my students, you will level up to your next high paying job and then continue to grow in your career. But once someone's in that entry level job, it's like you got into the game. You're in the minor leagues. Now it's your job to get into the major leagues, and you have all the tools you need. And that I've delivered. But sometimes people, once they've been on the job, there's advanced questions I need, dealing with office politics, or how do I get a raise, or how do I want to advance in this, in the paid search field, or people who want to build their own agency, advanced stuff. And I'm working on with one of my coaches, it's not even together yet. I'm still working on a more advanced, for people who already got the job, already making good, decent money, or they're starting to make decent money, advancing stuff. But it's not like an upsell, because it's not like you need that training to get the promise of the course. It's just there are some students who've been like, yeah, I'm already doing great. It's been life-changing, but now I want to get to the next level. I'm like, all right, well, let's make a training for that. But no, it's actually a ridiculous value proposition, because not only are you getting all the training that's unique, you're getting these coaching calls and support from literally from me. And I charge hundreds of dollars an hour for a consulting, and I give it to my students for, whatever your one-time fee. And you get ongoing access to these coaching calls, which is ridiculous. There's no limit. And that's the thing. I could put a time limit on it. At some point I might, but I don't know. It's just such a great community right now. I personally cannot stand. I've bought stuff at a reasonable, pay like $200 for a course. And, they're, you're going to learn this, this, and this. It's like, well, if you really want to learn the secrets of how to get the job or make things, then you need this $5,000. And I'm always like, screw you, man. I don't like that. I don't like that way of doing things. So,
Do you have any cool stories about any of your former students as far as some of the things that they've gone on to do, to work on?
I have a lot. Let me see if I can remember it. I mean, I've had students work for, Procter and Gamble, Netflix, Upwork, not freelancing, but actually working for the company Upwork, advertising their stuff. I have had Cynthia, one of my students, she worked with Damon John. Like she was doing all his marketing, one of the Shark Tank guys. She's working with all the Shark Tank guys. Roberto, I interviewed him a while because he started, again, entry-level job at one of the big agencies. I think it's iProspect, one of the biggest agencies on the planet. So he's managing like $10 million a year in annual ad spend within like a year of starting. There's a lot of stories like that in general. I'm very proud again of the 19-year-old Morgan. Christopher is 20. You'll see them on my YouTube channel. These young people who are showing so much initiative, so much maturity, so much self-sufficiency. I mean, to me, that's even more valuable than someone who has like work with a celebrity or something. Like they have the courage to stand up against a culture that is telling them they have to go to college. And they're like, that is not for me. And I will deal with being criticized, ostracized, and like, even shunned by my family to follow my heart and what I know is to be true. And then when they have success, it's really exciting. Cause those kids, you're like, she's 19, Morgan. I mean, Kayshawn is 20. These guys, they are just, when they're 24 or 23, all their peers are going to be graduating with debt and no clue. And these guys are going to be hiring. They're going to be in senior level positions at 23 and 24. That is what is thrilling to me. But like, I just got a message this morning. Like, I'll literally read it. Like, I can read it to you. I like woke up with this because, I'm in Asia, so I sleep when everyone else is awake. I literally just got this message. I love it. Tyler Moye. I'm going to post this on my Instagram. He said, I'm finally a success story. I was just hired to work remotely, making $40K coming right out of college. But he basically was studying in China, January 2020. COVID screwed everything up. And now he's actually going to be moving to Costa Rica in January. Karen was one of my star students. I just talked to her. She was 19 when she took the course, got an internship. By 20, she's freelancing, working 20 hours a week, making $52K a year, no college degree, finally gets her first job. Like her first job is a 6-figure job at Glassdoor. She works there for, I don't know how long. She recently just quit. That's another great thing is there's so many options when you quit or lose your job. And like when you lose your job in this, you don't lose your job. Mostly people quit or you move on to another agency. So that's another great thing about the field is that if your resume shows like, oh, I only spent 3 months at this agency, it's not a stigma. They know you're bouncing, it's accepted that you're going to move from agency to agency. Yeah. I mean, it's like exciting. She basically called me up the other day and she's like, I have this real problem. She's like, what do I do? It's like, oh my God. Oh, is everything okay? She's like, well, I'm in the final rounds of interviews with like NerdWallet and Ticketmaster and these huge freaking companies. There's a girl, no college degree, getting these big job offers. Should I take the job offers or should I freelance? I want to freelance. And I already have some clients lined, I could go with, and I could just like, what should I do? And I was like, you don't have no idea how good you have it. Like, this is your big problem. Should I go to a really nice job or should I like freelance? I was like, this is indicative of the types of things my students deal with. So yeah, if you want to hear more specific stories, go to my YouTube channel or Instagram.
I only have one more question that I think would be good that I have written down. Basically, the question is, how do people take accountability for their success? So it's kind of a question like, how do people get themselves in the right mindset to be successful in this career and to be successful teaming up with the course to learn these skills?
That's a good question. Well, I just added a whole mindset section to the course because I realized this was a big issue. I made the course based off my personality, which was very like go-getter. Like I'm very like intense and like focused, and I just keep taking action on things. And some students are just naturally like that, and others need a little bit of support and a little bit of guidance. The good thing about the course, I think the reason it's been so successful is because it is a proven step-by-step system. If you follow the instructions, that's the big problem. The only problem people have, I even had students who took the course a few years ago, And then they mature and they come back and are like, oh yeah, I listened to you this time. So you have to be teachable. I say give up any perfectionism you have and understand that this is a process. You know, you're learning these skills. Everyone has a different pace, and you have to be patient with yourself. But you have to stay consistent. That's what I'm saying. If you stay consistent, you will have success. I can't even think of a single student. If a student has reached out to me, and I've had people go negative on me in over the last couple of years, you know, occasionally. I did this, I did that. Reach out to me. I will support you until you get your job. Just don't go negative. But even the ones who've gone negative, if they continue to try, they will get results. Or I had one student who came to me, he's like, I've had 8 interviews, I didn't get hired. The course doesn't work. I said, dude, you had 8 interviews. Do you know there are college grads that can't get 1 interview? This is now a interviewing personality issue, which I diagnosed because anyone who has that attitude about, you know, is probably not going to interview that well. I like to teach what I say is like possibility grounded in reality. So you should come in excited about what's possible, you know, pumped up by the testimonials you've seen and, you know, people getting jobs, knowing it's possible, and then plant your feet on the ground and do the work.
Awesome advice. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be successful. What would you say to people who are like, you don't need to do this course to get a digital marketing job? You could just go on Google and learn, you know, I just go get my Google Analytics certification. And
I would say go for it. Like, try, you know, I mean, I didn't take this course and I got a job, but it took me 1.5 years of fumbling around. So what are you getting when you get a course? You're getting a proven roadmap. And I'm telling you, if you get out there onto Google, you're going to get lost. Other digital marketing courses, free YouTube videos, they're very useful. There's a lot of good information. But I'm saying if your goal is to get a job, you know, I've had people, again, graduated from marketing degree programs, people who've graduated from other online courses. They're missing the components I teach in the course about not just the skill sets, but the skill sets. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier. Everything I teach is from the perspective of doing the job. So and the projects I give you to show the employers, these are like, this is not readily available stuff. The stuff I teach in there, some of it, you might say, oh yeah, I saw something like this on YouTube, but the stuff that you're sending to the employers is unique. It's stuff that's designed to communicate. I know how to do the job because you got it from me after I actually did the job. So like, you know, again, you can take this guy's course, that guy's course, but they're not going to give you stuff that's actually going to make a hiring manager contact you with 1 month experience. On top of that, you have the support of the community, the feedback from me, and the feedback from these, you know, my alumni coaches, all of us who charge hundreds of dollars an hour when we consult. I think is that if you want to do it on your own, it's doable. You're paying for the speed and the support. You know, that's a lot of people even come to me who already have done some work in the field, but they really need help understanding how to do their resume and how to really manage an account, things like that. So they have like certain aspects of what I teach, but they'll still sign up and be happy with it.
Seth, thank you so much for coming on again and telling us about your wonderful course. For my subscribers, this is a course that I absolutely stand behind. And if you're at a point where you're thinking about either a digital marketing career or going down a different path than what you're currently on, this is a great option for you to check out and join. So Seth has a masterclass that you can go check out. Seth, if you want to just tell the audience a little bit about that before we say goodbye.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this is like a free webinar masterclass that is essentially talks about what we've been talking about here in much more depth, give you more context about the field, more specifics about what the jobs are, and you know how it is that my students are able to get them with no previous experience. And then I also do go very, very in depth into the course. If you've been wondering about the course, there's like, I go over all the modules, all the steps, all the details. Basically, the syllabus of the course is covered in the free presentation. So it's everything you need to know about it. It's about 1.5 hours. So definitely block out that amount of time for it.
Awesome. So if you guys want to go get that link, it's down below. And until next time, thank you so much, Seth, for joining me on here. I really enjoyed talking with you, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.